This is the voice of the Report of the Week, signing on. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone listening. This is VORW Radio International, the voice of the Report of the Week. It is Thursday, the 11th of January, 2018. You also may be tuned in on Sunday, the 14th of January, 2018. VORW Radio International is a light entertainment program which features a mixture of my talk and commentary, as well as listener-requested music. VORW Radio International can be heard online via TuneIn Radio, SoundCloud, the TuneIn Radio app on your phone, also via the international shortwave frequencies of 9955 kHz, 9455, 9395, 7780, 7730, 7490, and 5850 kHz. No matter when you're listening, how you're listening, or where you're listening from, I wish you good reception conditions, and I hope you enjoy this broadcast. Yes, getting into January of 2018, no longer the new year, the new year, but rather now we're just getting into the month, so I hope this January is starting off fine for you. I hope it is, and I hope the remainder of this January will be just as wonderful, if not better. Yeah, this last week for me has been a pretty good one. Today, as a matter of fact, I was just feeling a little out of it. But I mean, this week, in and of itself, has been a pretty good one. No complaints, really. The whole YouTube channel is actually doing pretty good this week, so that's nice to see. As a matter of fact, the last few videos, YouTube was very kind on. They were very kind on it. They promoted the videos a bit, got a good amount of views, got some extra people to the channel, which is great. You know, that's what you want. It's good for continuing to grow something long term. And this next video, I've been meaning to release it for days now, but I'm finally going to get it up today, this Thursday. And otherwise, it was demonetized, and I was waiting. They said they could have someone on the site manually review it, so it'll get monetized, so I can make some coin off of that to sustain myself. So I've just been waiting on that, and I figure I'm going to release it today. And for all of you online viewers and listeners, you'll get a new video, and of course this new radio broadcast as well. In terms of the radio broadcast, of course, we had those frequency switches. I'll just reiterate that right now. Keep in mind the broadcast at 5 a.m. Eastern every Thursday on 5850. Switched over to 9455 kHz. The transmission at 3 p.m. Eastern every Thursday on 11580 kHz is now on 7780 kHz. And the broadcast to Europe at 11 a.m. Eastern every Sunday on 9400 kHz has been discontinued. It's been replaced with a broadcast at 4 p.m. Eastern every Sunday on 7780 as well. Your reception reports, thoughts, views, and feedback on these broadcasts always appreciated. If you're picking up the signal, email me vorwinfo@gmail.com. That's vorwinfo@gmail.com. I'm kind of going to make a little announcement at the beginning of this show for those interested, and then we'll just hop into some tunes today. I am looking for an individual who has some online editing skills and would be interested in assisting this show in terms of designing a logo. We have the VORW logo currently. You can find it on the Teespring store. I think a lot of you have seen it, where it's like black and white, old-timey. It has the microphone and it has this burger in the center of it. And I'm looking to get it edited, kind of to remove that burger that's in there, because I do food reviews in the channel on YouTube, but I feel that is an unjust representation of what this station is. It's one thing, of course, if this was like a food-related talk show, right, where I would sit here for an hour and give my conjecture on steaks and pizza and sandwiches and whatnot, and of course I'll get on a food-related tangent or monologue here and there, but all of you regular listeners know, by and large, this isn't a food-related show. So the reason to have the big burger sitting there on the logo for this station is just, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And I have a new logo design that I kind of want to combine the two, Unfortunately, my editing skills are dismal, to say the very best. So I was wondering if any of you just want to help this out. Send me an email, vorwinfo@gmail.com. That's vorwinfo@gmail.com. Unfortunately, I can't offer full-blown, monetary compensation, but you'll be fully credited with a new logo. So I'll say it's by whoever, by your name. And if you really want something, I can give you. I know it's silly, but I could give you a Wendy's gift card, $15. If you really like Wendy's and you want to get yourself a couple free meals, I got that gift card. I don't really, I don't see myself putting it to any other use except for this. So if you're interested, contact me, vorwinfo@gmail.com. First come, first serve. Again, I'm interested in an editor to help out with the station logo. If you're interested, inquire, vorwinfo@gmail.com. I've been meaning to say that the last few weeks, actually. I've been looking at this logo, and I keep telling myself, I'm gonna make the announcement about it. And then I never do. Because then, I have a different topic on my mind at the start of the show, and then I don't say anything. This has probably been going on for at least a month. Then I said, okay, fine. Instead of pulling teeth here to try and figure what to talk about, I want to get that out of the way. As I said, it's something I've been meaning to do for a while. And again, first come, first serve. So if a number of people contact, that's just what it means. First come, first serve basis. You're listening to VORW Radio International, the voice of the report of the week. Well, instead of talking about logos and misfit monetization anymore, let's just get on to some music. You're tuned to VORW Radio International, the voice of the report of the week.
Changing
are listening to VORW Radio International, the voice of the Report of the Week. That first song was a request from Summer. She's a long-time listener of the broadcast. She said, could you please play the song Belief by John Mayer? And that song was released in 2006 off of his album Continuum. Thank you very much for your music request. Some good music from an artist that I really don't play too much on this show, but he's got a very good discography. That second song was a request from Nick, a shortwave listener on 5850 kilohertz. That tune was Baby Love by the Supremes, released in 1964. So we're going back a couple decades, but some good music, some of the Motown, at least of the Motown label, as you can say, classic Supremes. And Nick, he had a comment. He said, I've been meaning to write in for a while to tell you a story about how your Christmas tree Frappuccino review saved the day at the Starbucks I work at. He said someone ordered the beverage during a Saturday rush. However, nobody on the bar knew how to make it, and there was no time to hunt down the recipe card. Luckily, I had just watched your video 2 days prior, and thanks to your detailed description of the drink, I was able to make it perfectly. Well, thank you very much, Nick. It's always a pleasure to have these videos help you out, help everyone out, I should say, in unintended ways. So it's great to have you listening, and thanks for your story there. If you are listening to this broadcast right now, I appreciate your questions, comments, feedback, reception reports, music requests, and also just miscellaneous points and topics. It's those things, those little tangents that, kind of give the show its little steam, as they say. And so if you have anything you want to say, if you're tuned in on shortwave, got a song you want to hear, whatever it is, send me an email, vorwinfo@gmail.com. That's vorwinfo@gmail.com. If you tune in, I'll try my best to shout you out. Joseph in the Czech Republic. He said he was listening on TuneIn, enjoying the show. Thank you, Joseph. Over to the U.S., Dan in Greenwood, Indiana. He said he was listening on 5850 kilohertz with a very strong signal. Thank you, Dan. Martin in Toronto, Canada. He said he was listening on 11580 kilohertz with a very good signal. Thank you, Martin. And I hope I'm keeping my fingers crossed that the broadcast on 7780 kilohertz will come into your location just as good should you tune in again. Keep me updated. Any reception reports for 7780 in general, always appreciated. Alex, a listener in St. John's, Newfoundland, and Labrador. He said he was tuned in on TuneIn because he was having trouble picking up the shortwave signal. And I checked the time that you wrote in at, and it seemed as though the broadcast you listened to is over TuneIn exclusively. And I'm going to send you an updated broadcast schedule. I would recommend that you listen to the broadcast on 7780. That should provide best reception for you, but even if that, your time or schedule does not allow, there's a few other frequencies you should be able to pick up as well. Over to Clarksburg, West Virginia. Kurt, he said he was listening on his 1938 tabletop radio. He said he's really enjoying the music. Thank you, Kurt. And those old school radios, man. I am not a very technological savvy person, but I did get my hands, about back in 2014, I would say, on an old radio. Very, very old. Back, when they had the wood paneling and everything, and it was probably a tabletop radio of similar age to yours. Unfortunately, I never got it working, but those radios do have a beautiful aesthetic, admittedly. They most certainly do. Matt in Northeast Ohio, a regular listener, he said, I'm tuned in on 6205, enjoyed the show a lot. Thank you, Matt. I don't know if it's a free radio station that's relaying the show on 6205, but as I said last week, if you're able to hear it on that frequency, you can hear it, and I'm glad you're enjoying it. He said, I have a question. What are the qualities you like most about yourself? Well, Matt, this answer is going to be the antithesis of what you were looking for. But really, I've done a lot of soul searching within myself, and I've been trying to think, well, what is it that you like about yourself? And all in all, I can't really find all that much that I could outright say that I like about myself. So then what do? Well, if there's nothing that I feel that strongly about within myself, I look at others, those who I love and care about, and it's those people that keep me going, truth be told. So, you know, that's just how I look at that situation, because I don't really see a lot when I look at myself, but when I look at those close to me, I see so much, you know, and that's what kind of keeps me motivated, keeps me on my toes, keeps me in check and just going forward each day, you know. Over to Texas, Lindsay and Kyle, they said they're tuned in, enjoying the reports and music choices. Thank you both. Down to Guatemala, first time listener there, John. He said he's listening on 99.55 kilohertz, so I'm glad that the South American service is making it into its intended target area. It's more Central America, but it's South of America. No, not the South American continent. But thank you, John. Thank you for tuning in. And Natasha in West Virginia, she sent an email. She said she was interested in obtaining a shortwave radio to listen on, so I sent a few recommendations. If you are interested in listening to this broadcast on shortwave, you see I shout out many shortwave listeners in each show. Shortwave is a good medium to listen on. It, you know, the signals can travel long distances. You can hear some interesting shows, has its technological advantages, and, you know, it's a useful resource to have, especially in times of emergency or disaster. So if you're interested in getting a shortwave radio to listen to the broadcast on, but also for other reasons, send me an email, vorwinfo@gmail.com. That's vorwinfo@gmail.com. And I'll recommend you some affordable shortwave radios around or under $50. And these radios are all reliable. You get people that say all the time they tune in on them every week and they can hear the signals on them, and that's what's most important. vorwinfo@gmail.com. Well, this next music request coming up, I'm actually picking out on my own. This is from my repertoire, the song I want to hear. Some Third Eye Blind from the late 90s, Motorcycle Drive By. You're listening to VORW Radio International, voice of the Report of the Week.
Summertime and the wind is blowing outside, and though it's Chelsea and I don't know what I'm doing in the city, the sun is always in my eyes. It crashes through the windows and I'm sleeping on the couch. When I came to visit you, that's when I knew that I could never have you. I knew that before you did. Still I'm the one who's stupid. And there's this burning, like there's always been. I've never been so alone, and I've never been so alive. This is a view on a motorcycle drive by. The cigarette ash flies in your eyes, and you don't mind. You're small. Say the world, it doesn't fit with you. I don't believe you. You're so serene, careening through the universe. Your axis of the town. You're guiltless and free. I hope you travel home to the coast. It starts to rain, I'm paddle out on the water alone. Taste the salt and taste the pain, I'm not thinking of you again. Summer dies, it spells rise. The sun goes down in my eyes. See this golden wave, darkly coming to take me home. And I've never been so alone. And I've never been so alive. We'll do it all, everything on our own. We don't need anything or anyone. If I lay here, if I just lay here, would you lie with me and just forget the world? I don't quite know how to say how I feel. Those 3 words I said too much. They're not enough. If I lay here, if I just lay here, would you lie with me and just forget the world? Forget what we're told before we get too old. Show me your garden that's bursting into life. Let's waste time chasing cars around our heads. I need your grace to remind me to find my own. If I lay here, just lay just lay here, would you lie with me and just forget the world?
and this is VORW Radio International, the voice of the report of the week. I did a lot of talking earlier, so I decided to make up for the deficit of music with 3 songs in a row. The first song was Motorcycle Drive-By, released by Third Eye Blind in 1997. That was the song that I selected for this broadcast. The second was a request from James in Johnston, Iowa, Chasing Cars by Snow Patrol. He said he was listening on 5850 kilohertz with a great signal. He said, one of the things I enjoy about your show is the eclectic music I get to hear. Thank you for your kind words, James. And that third song was a request from Milton in Miami, Florida, a SoundCloud listener. That was Marigold by Mother Falcon. Some alternative indie music. I never heard that piece before, and I really liked the combination of the string arrangement with the vocals as well. Very, very cool song. See, that's the thing. People say they always discover new music on this show. I discover a lot of new music myself. So, great song there, Milton. Thank you very much. If you're listening to this broadcast right now, I'd appreciate your questions, comments, feedback, and reception reports. Music requests, too. Send me an email if you're listening, vorwinfo@gmail.com. That's vorwinfo@gmail.com. You could be listening on shortwave, on TuneIn, on your phone, on SoundCloud, or any other means, should one exist. Send me an email if you're listening. Long or short, you could write in frequently or infrequently, vorwinfo@gmail.com. Penelope in Illinois, she was listening on 93.95 kilohertz on her shortwave radio. She said, pretty clear signal. Thank you for your reception report. Maximilian in northern Connecticut, he reported a strong signal on 93.95 kilohertz as well. He said he's really enjoying the show. Thank you, Maximilian. Jim and Carol on the Tippecanoe River in Indiana. They said extremely clear signal on 5850 kilohertz. Thank you very much for your report. 5850 still getting out there week after week, so I think we can say with confidence now that it is a consistent source of good reception, especially in these winter months, and really should get out there, even if the other frequencies don't. Well, this frequency did. Esteban in California, he said excellent reception on 7730 kilohertz. That's great to hear from you. Good to hear also. Reception on 7730 is good. Norva, she's in Glendale, California. She said she tuned in on 5850 kilohertz and experienced some decent reception when outdoors. Thank you for your report, and also this week you can try out 7730 kilohertz. That's beamed even more towards California, so that should probably provide even better reception for you if you could pick that frequency up on your radio. Philip in eastern Newfoundland, Canada, he said fair reception on 5850 kilohertz, and that's to be expected. 5850 does provide very good reception in the Midwest, even the Northeast, but Newfoundland is just a little too far east for that frequency, really. I would recommend you check out 7780 kilohertz. That one shoots up the coast and should really blast into Newfoundland with a good signal there. A listener in Ohio, he said good reception on shortwave. He said, but there is a consistent New York weather report in the background, and it's very interesting. I guess you never know what you're going to get. I would presume that to be localized interference. Maybe you live near a local AM or perhaps even a Volmet shortwave station providing some local interference and some harmonics for you. I really don't know where that's coming from, but I don't know, maybe the New York weather report kind of added to the aesthetic. Maybe it just put the show on that next level right there. Who's to say? Over to Memphis, Tennessee. Christopher, he said he's listening on 5850 kilohertz for the first time, and really good signal, he said. Well, thank you for being a first-time listener, and I'm glad that you're able to pick it up with good reception as well. And also staying in Tennessee, Caleb in Nashville, Tennessee, said, great show. I never expected to hear Across the Great Divide on your show unless I requested it. Very happy to learn I'm not the only fan of the band amongst your listeners. I'm sure there's more than you'd think, Caleb. I'm sure of that. Now on to our next music request. This one is sponsored by Becky and Koki Hansen. They said, can you please play Please, Please, Please Let Me Get What I Want by the Dream Academy. Close your eyes, dream of Nighthawks and Abe Froman. You're listening to VORW, voice of the report of the week. So that first song that we played for you was Please, Please, Please Let Me Get What I Want by the Dream Academy. And that song was a request from Becky and Cokie Hansen. That tune was actually used in the film Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It was during the Art Institute scene, if that rings a bell. And yeah, pretty good song. Instrumental piece, but a solid instrumental at that. And the song afterwards was Damaged Goods by Gang of Four. Some post-punk, released in the year 1978 as a single, as a request from Sonia in Davis, California, a SoundCloud listener. If you are tuned into this broadcast right now, I'd appreciate hearing from you. It's the only way I have of knowing that these broadcasts are getting out there, be it online or on air. So if you're tuned in right now, why not send me an email? You could email me about anything you want. You know, last week I mentioned sandwiches, and we're going to talk about sandwiches coming up in a couple seconds. If you want to email me about paper cups, you know, do you prefer paper cups or plastic cups or glass receptacles or faux metal drinking apparatuses, or anything in between? Do you drink from a blue crystal chalice like I do? You know, as long as you listen to these broadcasts, just send me an email, let me know that you're listening, and you can talk about whatever you want. Also, of course, reception reports, comments, questions, and music requests, greatly appreciated as well. Send me an email if you're listening. Email's open, vorwinfo@gmail.com. That's vorwinfo@gmail.com. Now, on the topic of sandwiches, Laura in Australia, she said, I like sandwiches, and what's your favorite kind of sandwich? Well, I used to like the BLT sandwiches, bacon, lettuce, tomato. But ever since I've been to Florida, there's a local grocery chain in the region called Publix. If you ever have the chance to try them out, I recommend going to their deli and trying out their chicken tender sub. It's delicious. They do it like no other. It's the honest truth. It's very simple. You know, you could customize it as you wish, but I always get mine with just chicken tenders, lettuce, tomato, salt, pepper, and then the chicken tenders are doused with buffalo sauce. Very, very good. I bet some fellow Floridians can attest to that, saying Publix is good. Or maybe you'll get the one person who really likes Subway will write in and say, no, you're dead wrong. Over to Santiago, Chile, a listener there, she said, I enjoy sandwiches with pickles. Thank you. Yeah, pickles can be an interesting accompaniment to sandwiches. There's some where I think I take the pickles off, but there's other sandwiches where the pickles, they really contribute flavor that's necessary for it. Gary in Columbus, Indiana, regular listener, he said 5850 and 9395, outstanding reception. And he said, now to the important stuff, the greatest sandwich ever. He said peanut butter, jelly, and egg sandwich. Oh yeah. Toast your bread, peanut butter of your choice, grape jelly, and add one fried egg. Best ever. You know, that's very interesting. It never would have occurred to me to add the fried egg to it. I bet that combination probably goes together pretty good. Thank you for that recommendation. I might just prepare a sandwich like that in the future. And he said, I also have a question. It's been driving me insane with curiosity. Do you ever just put on a t-shirt and blue jeans? I can't imagine it. I honestly envision you mowing the lawn in a suit and tie. Well, for those of you who aren't really familiar with this question, if you're just a radio listener, you see, I wear very formal attire every day. And to answer your question, Gary, no, I don't. I wear at least usually dress pants, a dress shirt, and usually a tie every single day. Oftentimes more. I'll sometimes wear a cardigan. Lately it's been a little chilly, so I've been wearing three-piece suits, and I always put the pocket watch chain on the vest. Otherwise, I wear a suit and tie every day. I mean, it's midnight right now on a Thursday morning. I'm recording this show, and you know, I'm wearing my casual attire, which is some blue window pane dress pants from a suit, a white short sleeve dress shirt, and a blue, Art Deco pattern tie. I have my signature cross pens in the shirt pocket along with my cards and everything. That's just my regalia for the day. Of course, when like Hurricane Irma hit, I had to clear out lawn debris. I was wearing like khakis and a dress shirt, but you know, still, that's as informal as I'll get. And Ruben in Texas, listener on 5850, said also, he said, you may not be aware, but there is a popular sandwich that is actually named after me, which of course would be the Reuben sandwich. Now, as I see it, every sandwich I personally make is indeed a Reuben sandwich, whether it be made of turkey, ham, peanut butter, ice cream, what have you. However, the famous sandwich named after me is composed of corned beef, Swiss cheese, sauerkraut, and Russian, sometimes Thousand Island, dressing, between slices of rye bread. Yep, the Reuben sandwich, the famous one. I've had a couple of those at some delis up in New York, and yeah, it's a solid sandwich. I think if the ingredients are fresh enough, and they're prepared by the right person, I think you could pretty much have a perfect sandwich of a very, very vast variety of options and ingredients. Again, if you're listening to this broadcast right now, your questions, comments, reception reports, and music requests all are welcome. VORWINFO@gmail.com. This next music request is a sponsored piece from James, who tuned in last week on 5850 kilohertz. He said, could you please play Strangers by Sigrid? Absolutely, James, your song coming up right now.
Just like in the movies, it starts to rain away. We're the broken beauties, blindfolded minds collide and we fall. When the curtain drops, our touch is just a touch that I can ignore.
by Sigrid. Well, we're approaching the end of this broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, so if you are tuned in right now, your questions, comments, reception reports, and music requests all are welcome. Send me an email if you're listening, VORWINFO@gmail.com. A few last shout-outs I'd like to give. I'd like to shout out Kevin in Central Texas, who is tuned in on 7730 and 5850 kilohertz, good reception. Mark and Sue in Western North Carolina, listening on 9395 kilohertz, who said they will be regular listeners. Mary in Hanson, Massachusetts, she said she was tuned in on 9395 kilohertz with great reception on a frigid day. Todd over in Brazil, Indiana, he said thanks for being on shortwave, enjoyed the show, thank you Todd. Janet in South Carolina, listening online, a regular listener. Marco in Berlin, Germany, also an online listener, thank you for writing in. And Elizabeth in California, she was interested in some shortwave radio recommendations, and if you too would like to listen on shortwave, send me an email at VORWINFO@gmail.com. I'll happily give you some schedules, some recommended shortwave models if you're interested, any information on the medium, and also, of course, any last comments, reception reports, VORWINFO@gmail.com. Keep in mind that this broadcast is listener funded, so it stays on the air thanks to your funding. If you want to help keep this show on the air, donations of any size and shape are appreciated via PayPal. Funds may be sent via PayPal to repweekinterview1@gmail.com. That's REPWEEKINTERVIEW1, that's the number 1@gmail.com. repweekinterview1@gmail.com. You may also donate via our Patreon page, which is a monthly donation service. Patreon.com/TheReportOfTheWeek. That's Patreon.com/TheReportOfTheWeek. Or you can purchase VORW radio merchandise. Teespring.com/stores/TheReportOfTheWeek. Teespring.com/stores/TheReportOfTheWeek. Thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen, to this broadcast of VORW Radio International. We'll see you again, same time, same station, until next week. Take care. Wish you all the best. Stay warm in this January of 2018. We'll see you next week. Take care. This is VORW.
She memorized again.